after trying to follow that. Good luck, Owen.
Thanks very much for that, Billy. That was a great speech and a tough act to follow. You were saying Father of the Bride got you. I've been known to have a tear in my eye during episodes of Love Island, all sorts. But yeah, so we'll see how this goes. Firstly, on behalf of me and my beautiful new wife, always got that to fall back on if it starts to go wrong. We'd like to just thank you all for coming. It's amazing to have you all here, and it really does make the day special. As Billy said, Nan and Rob come all the way from Spain, and you're a big part of my childhood, so it means a lot to have you here today. We've had people come from all over the UK, we've had people come from deepest, darkest Devon. And on that note, it reminds me for both of those, so happy birthday to Nan, Jenny over there, and also happy birthday, Carly. And as you were saying about that slightly political Gateshead Newcastle divide, we also have had one or two people who've braved the time crossing to be with us today, so thanks to the Newcastle folk. Firstly, the bridesmaids, you all look absolutely fantastic today. I wasn't a big fan of, I wasn't sure of the idea about the flower headbands. No, I wasn't sure about the flower headbands, but as you say, my new wife was 100% correct. They looked absolutely stunning. You all look absolutely fantastic today. And whether it's a sister who's coached her into kind of unnerving ability to know song lyrics, or amazing friends, you've all helped shape this beautiful human, and I know she's very fortunate to have you. You've also all been absolutely fantastic with me. Hannah, as you say, from the off, I think you got that burning toast just out in time before it all went up in flames. And thank you for your talk today. It was absolutely fantastic. Madison, yours was great as well. Your partner let you down a bit. I'd like to thank Jenny as well for making the absolutely amazing card box. If you take a look at it, if you haven't, you can see it just there. You'd think it was professionally done, but it was all Jenny's hard work.
Well done.
So that's something we'll be able to treasure for the rest of our lives, which is absolutely brilliant. So to show our appreciation for the bridesmaids, I think, looking around, I'm not sure it's coming. I believe we have a little gift. Is that one? There we are. So, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my God, thank you.
I've got a little nod to the father of the bride, and Morrison is one of his favourite places. So we'll go with that. Yeah, take that. None of the cheap stuff. No, but yeah. Thank you so much. That's lovely. And thanks for your help today. I'm sure there was no drama. No. Lily didn't get here today. So the day I proposed, we were going out for dinner, and suddenly, as occasionally happens, she has been known to have a slight wobble about how her makeup's looking. And I thought it wasn't going to happen then, but yeah, let's go with this today. I want to tell us it's my mum and dad. Mum, you look absolutely beautiful today. Dad, you've not got a horrible tie on. People that might have been to family weddings of ours might remember that. Was it yellow and blue? Like Mr. Blobby monstrosity. And
it went with the pink shirt, to be fair.
Well, yeah, to be honest, we've gone for the all black theme today, so you didn't wear a terrible tie, so that one's passed. I would though like to say to my dad, you've taught me a really valuable life lesson. and that is how to punch above my weight. As you'll be able to see here, it's a bit of a walpole trait, really. You'll be able to see Exhibit A and Exhibit B here in all their glory. Probably kicked off from my granddad. That was that was the sight to behold. But yeah, so no, but honestly, you've done a okay job raising me. I think it's not been too bad at times, but yeah, thank you for that. I also obviously just wanted to thank my new parents-in-law. You've, I think from the off really, you've welcomed me into the family, and that's meant a lot. I've felt like comfortable there from the off, and that's been absolutely fantastic. And really from that first weekend we came, you did help a love that was growing really start to blossom, because I think the first time I saw Chris Boyd rock gliding across that artificial turf at Rugby Park, I knew Killy were the Scottish team for me. No, but it's meant a lot, obviously, that you've been so welcoming to me, and I couldn't really wish for better. Joy, the hat's lovely, you look absolutely fantastic today, and Billy have scrubbed up well as well. So just thank you so much for being there. I'd also like to thank the gentlemen in the end. Both Chris and Matt have done a great job in organising two great stags. Both look very dapper today. Whoever helped you pick out those suits, they've got a keen eye. We've been saying that we went over there actually, we went for some photos, and everyone's been coming through and saying how amazing Rebecca looked, and I wanted to get up there and be like, what about me? No, but you made the two stag do's that had such a great laugh, and for those that came, from people that helped pick out the outfits, to my brother's rendition of Achy Breaky Heart. Those that were cool enough to get into Trestle with me, that was, for the others, there'll be a button or two next time. And even through to the member of the party that may have upset another special day this summer with their antics, but we'll leave that can go on the pile that a best man of theirs will have ample work to do with if they ever got married. And now I'd like to move, turn my attention really to the main event, and my beautiful new wife, the new Mrs. Walpole. I was thinking really, I probably don't express enough how much you mean to me. I'm probably classically masculine in that way. I've had many a person tell me that rippling biceps and a macho masculinity are not substitute for your feelings, but I've always found I've used them as a crutch. But no, I love you so much, and you mean the world to me. We've obviously had so many good memories together, and we'll be able to add to them, but often it's the little things that I think are so special, whether it's, coming in, hug after work, or cutting up on the Safe watching the TV, or sharing a laugh at my amazing jokes, or another great anecdote that I roll on. It's absolutely fantastic. And I really couldn't imagine my life without you, and I'm glad I won't have to. With my shitty lungs, I'm definitely dying first. So. I do remember actually where we'd been going out for a little while, and I remember I convinced Dee to join me at the Den for an away game at Millwall. And I remember in that moment as I turned to her, and she was wearing one of my Coventry City jackets. She always looks great, but that was a strong look. And she was screaming in unison with the Sky Blue Army at some Millwall fan in the other end. And I did think someone that can go to the Den and scream at the Millwall fans, that's going to be the girl for me. But honestly, I would say that anyone that knows her well, and a lot of you will know that she's the most loyal friend that you could ever imagine having. She'd always be there for you. and I'm so proud to have her in my corner. It's, you know, she's an absolute diamond, and I know I've done well there. She's also, I'd written initially that she is also a gentle soul. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking there, it must have got an emotional day. But no, honestly, because if you know her well, that she's the most generous, thoughtful, loving person I've ever met, and I'm so incredibly fortunate. She's also just tenacious in everything she does. She's incredibly talented, and I'm very, very proud of her, and proud that we're here today. She is just a wonderful woman. She'll tell me when I need help regularly, maybe even sometimes when I don't need help, but and she's always there to support you when you need to be, and all the time I spend with her is just incredible. And I must say, she makes me a better person, because if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love someone else? Before I pass on, pass on. Oh yeah, it's not going to be quite yet. Before I hand over to my best friend, I'd just like to raise a final toast to my incredible, beautiful, gorgeous new wife. Held it together okay, which is more than can be said from when I saw the dress, and she's just absolutely stunning coming down there. Now I'm going to hand over to my best man. Now I've lived a chaste and temperate 28 years on this planet, so I knew this day might come. But if you do hear a tall tale now or later, you just need to remember you can't trust a best man, and you certainly can't trust a man that's drinking a can of stronger at a wedding. So yeah, thank you all, and I will hand over to Matt. Again, that way.
So, it comes over to me. Well, sorry, I just thought I'd keep everyone waiting, as Owen is so often keeping everyone in the whole every opportunity. Couldn't leave that one alone. I'm sorry, Owen. But, I mean, everyone in this room must have spent hours, multiple hours, waiting for Owen to get ready. I think everyone, it was a surprise. It was a change having D, to have to wait for D. But Owen is always the one we are waiting for. But as there are two best men, we better get on with it. Okay, I know everyone is hungry. Okay, we are going to have the family-friendly version now. Okay? But if you fancy any of the more sordid details, please see anyone on that table, or the best men a bit later, as I'm sure there's some various stories to rehash over there. Okay. How lovely it is to have the bride and groom looking so fantastic, as well as the bridesmaids, obviously, as well. Okay, I think they look stunning. And I think it's safe to say, yeah, I agree, Owen's sentiments of Owen is definitely punching. Okay, next I want Glenn Walpole to stand up, please.
Is there enough character assassination already?
Well, don't worry, it's not another stitch up like last time. I did stitch Glenn up at the panto one evening, which was hilarious. I think it's I think that he deserves a big round of applause for turning up on the same day as an important Exeter Chiefs semi-final. Okay, moving on, I got to know Owen, firstly through athletics and football. We spent many a Saturday morning playing at King George V. As you all know, Owen has obviously always been a lanky lad. When we were about 12 or 13, he was a clear 6 inches above anyone else in the team. Owen was a great organiser of the football team, a constant voice from his, and it's from his height you'd expect him to be a centre-back. But Owen played left back, sometimes a winger and a striker. As I said, a good organiser, but at this stage of 12 or 13, he did not necessarily have full control of his long extremities. He very much struggled with coordination of that, and it was really funny. On the one occasion where he joined us for a game of volleyball, and I mean, you thought we were onto an absolute ringer, but I mean, it was just awful. Okay. One particular football match that sticks in my memory was Owen was playing against this tiny winger, and he must have been at least a foot shorter than Owen. Well, 20 minutes into the game, Owen was going up for a header against this lad, and the referee blew for Owen pushing into the back of this tiny lad. The same happened just before half-time, and Owen couldn't quite believe it. After half-time, Owen decided that he was going to put his hands behind his back when going for headers, try not to give away any more fouls. It looked like a bit of a seal doing this, but he thought it was the best way of avoiding further fouls. However, 15 minutes again, he was pinged again, but this time for climbing on the player's back. Owen went over to the referee, very infuriated, as infuriated as I've ever seen. And he shouted, "I've got my hands behind my back, what are you watching?" Owen then went over to the ref and asked, "Should I kneel down for headers to make it fair?" 5 minutes later, he was subbed off. And to show his frustration, in true footballer style, he launched his bottle across the field. It was great. When we were getting older, we became part of the men's athletics team at Exeter Harriers, and we had competitions all over the country. We had a teammate that had known us for a few years, but he came back up to us at the first competition, asking why we had different surnames. Well, Owen and I looked a little bit perplexed at this, and didn't really know what he was talking about. Well, you're brothers, aren't you? I think we spent so much time together when we were younger that I think he thought we were brothers. But he'd always seen, however, in a way, I've always considered Owen to be a bit like a brother. I think that I spent nearly as much time at the Walpole's house as my own, and even had my own ketchup bottle in their house. The Walpoles are a second family to me, and so for that, the first toast that I'd like to do is to the Walpoles. One thing that I do have to mention is I do have to mention a previous girlfriend, Owen. Risky, I know. Risky. Well, the reason I have to tell you about it is just because it's a funny story that irritates Owen. Well, a competition that we went to in North Devon, well, Owen decided that this would be a good opportunity when he was about 13 or 14 to take a date with him up to this competition in North Devon. Well, of course, Owen was competing in about 3 or 4 different events this particular day. So he travelled up in the car with this date and obviously Mum and Dad. And Owen went off to do these long warm-ups and then compete and then come back. I think he spent a grand total of about 20 minutes with this girl throughout the day. The rest of the time, she had the unfortunate pleasure of spending it with Glenn. But I think she enjoyed her time talking to Jackie. But I do have to say that clearly, first dates have improved since then, otherwise Dee would not have agreed for a second. I first met Dee at a Radio 1's Big Weekend, about 6 years ago, I think it was. Sorry, I lost my place. Little did I know that the girl that Owen was drunkenly introducing me to would be the girl that he'd go on to marry 5 years later, the exact same weekend.
Yes, yeah.
But this was, of course, prior to Owen going off on his adventure to Kenya to give athletics a chance. And for that, I really admire him. But I'm so thankful that after coming back from Kenya, he managed to get into contact and back together with Dee, and clearly things went from there. Moving up to Newcastle has clearly been a great move, and I'm so happy for both of them. Although I wish I was a bit closer to Devon, so that it would make visiting much easier. I've known Owen for a long time, and he's not exactly the most decisive person in the world. However, when he told me that he was going to propose to Dee, there was no hesitation at all. He said that he'd never been so sure of something in his life. Sometimes we can go months without seeing each other. However, when we do catch up, it's exactly the same as it's ever been. We've always been there for each other, through the good times and the not so good. It's the mark of a true friend. He's someone that you always know will be there. Whenever you need him, just a phone call away. I couldn't be happier for Owen that he's found someone that makes him so happy and compliments him in every way. He's found the person that he wants to spend the rest of his life with. And for that reason, I would like you to raise your glass for the newlyweds, Mr. and Mrs. Warhol.
Mr. and Mrs. Walpole. Well done.
I'd like to welcome the other best man. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Chris.